This works. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Uh, is this working? That's always the question. Uh, all right, this seems to be okay. Good. I'm on YouTube. It's been a while. Uh, on air rudeness. That's me. Well, is it working? Yeah, it is on. Let me see. I forget how to do this, folks. Um, well, I'm on YouTube, where I on Facebook. This is annoying. These cables. Joachim, how are you, my friend? Let's see if this works. Um, yeah, I just wanted to stop in. I every week goes by and I don't get to do this as often as I would like. Traveling all the time and trying to get my head together all the time, as we all are, right? That's the one of the bits of solace is there's none of us that are having an easy time with this crazy. Hello, hello. Let me test the volume here and make sure. Hey, make sure this is nice and loud. Hey, hey, hey. 1 2 1 2 1 1. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we have some sauce even. Hey, there we go. A little public speaking uh reverb thing. Well, I thought I'd stop by just randomly, give you a little something different. Uh, um, just answering some replies here. Um, so give me some topics here. Well, one of the topics is just being back from Japan and doing another incredible musical trip in Japan. That's the main focus is the music. Wow, I mean it really um, just was incredible. Over in Japan with Pat Metheny, as many of you know, that's my number one gig, my main full time, part time, I guess. Yeah, uh, you know, it's part time as this crazy career is for all of us, but that's uh, that's been an incredible gig as I move into the third year of doing it. So I don't think there's anyone who would bother to be listening to my blather that doesn't know that's my main gig. So that's what we just did. Was it January 10th to February 5th? So just shy of a month, whatever that is, 3.5 weeks or so. And as those things go, it flew. All of a sudden, it was couple days left, and I hadn't gotten a lot of cool things off of the kind of trip bucket list. You know, Japan is incredible, and there's so many cool things to do. Got most of them done though. One of them was going to Akibara. I think you pronounced it like that. The one of the shopping areas. There's many Shinjuku and Harajuku, and there's all these different places that range from being very touristy to very efficient and cool. But they have these incredible shopping areas, and one of them is where all the electronics is, and you can find these incredible buildings with floor after floor. Like one floor is, I don't know, stereos and radios and music playing devices. no longer that many CD players and things like that. We see a few of them, but um, Bluetooth boxes and Bluetooth devices and stuff. But interestingly enough, a lot of radios, which we'll talk about. Japan's a major radio culture, and I don't know. What one thing is that it's a culture where on a daily basis, the concept of we could be in an earthquake, we could be in a tsunami, we could be in an emergency. The shit could all break down for 2 weeks, and then what? And radio tends to historically work throughout a lot of things, not every tragedy, but radio is the one, that you kind of have. It's relatively easy to have some sort of emergency broadcast thing happening that's using batteries and solar and that kind of thing, and that can be relatively portable and operate even after earthquakes and different things. So I don't know. This is my personal theory of one of the reasons that Japan may have this really strong radio culture. But you go into stores and whatever it is, hardware store, electronics store, variety stores, and you see radios. It's very interesting, and a lot of them have the little, it's the little ones that you can wind up. So that's just an interesting thing. And I did make it to one of these incredible areas of electronic retail. So, Scott Fisher, how are you, my brother? Yes, I'm back. I'm in space. I'm back in outer space. I will survive. Indeed, that's one of my. Love that song, and that's one of my mantras. I will survive, and that's how I talk myself off the edge sometimes. But many weeks I've wanted to come on and keep this really fun forum going, and just have had so much going on the last several months. So it's good to jump in. Now let's see. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. It's on YouTube. Let's make sure. Blah, blah, blah. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines, says YouTube. YouTube has community guidelines? Who knew? All right. They're annoying. Why do I have to click? Learn more about our stupid no, YouTube. What a love-hate I have with YouTube. But in any event, yeah, hit me with some topics, and I do have some pictures I'll share and some fun stories. If it gets to that, I might just hang out for a few and rattle on and then get out of here. Mystery cables. What's this? Mystery non-working micrometer. This micrometer is cheap and faulty. I just got a good new one in Japan. All right, so let me try to set it up, getting some pictures. No Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's great. Is that like a that would be like a nom de plume for me? That's very good. No, that's good. I get it. The whole space thing and black guy into science. I mean, it sucks that that's still like a thing that we don't have enough black people in NASA or running the science programs or stuff like that. Maybe we do. We have a lot actually. It's been great. As a nerd, I just had a birthday, and so thinking back to this nerd life, which is pretty much all it is, but thinking back to being a nerd in the late 70s, early 80s, and you had many black scientists in the past, people who've invented, important things in heart surgery or blood transfusions or any number of things, any number of great doctors. and scientists inventing all kinds of stuff. So I had lots of heroes, lots of people who, as they say, look like you growing up, and that's important for all people. But I remember specifically being a space nerd and loving NASA and space travel and all that stuff. I was a charter member of the Planetary Society, which was something Carl Sagan and some people from NASA put together. And I remember sending $10 or whatever tiny amount it would have been at that point. Let me get these pictures while I'm talking. Where is it? And here we go. And looking around, yeah, not that many African descent people in that world. Once in a while you'd see someone, but what was that guy? There was that astronaut though in the '80s, Bluford, something like that. Guion Bluford, something like that. And there was a couple other people, so that was cool. But now, man, I still watch a lot of space stuff, NASA stuff, and Guion Bluford, yeah, and first black astronaut in space, right? I remember that. It was a big deal. Oh, he's 81. He's still alive, and ripping off my hairdo. But a wonderful time we live in now, though, where you have just an incredible amount of African descent scientists, black and brown scientists, people from all around the world, all kinds of Asian cultures, Central and South American cultures, African, Indian. Japan just sent something up, so it's cool. It's great to see this progress. Yeah, I remember this guy. That was so important, man. I don't know what year it was. I feel like it was, like 40 years ago. 1983, yeah. And that was a big deal. It was really cool, and I was thinking of going to aerospace high school in Brooklyn a few years before this, and I didn't, but that's how much of a nerd I was. I wanted to go to the aerospace high school, I think it was called, something like that, in Brooklyn. But anyway, all of that from an innocuous comment by my good friend Michael Bernier. Carl Satan, that's good. Keep these coming. That's very good. That's very good. Anton Roulard, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. And that was so cool when my friend Anthony met you and sent some pictures. I love that around the world, that I have different friends and we can connect. Michael, do not apologize. It was hilarious. Hey, Andra, how are you? Another dear and old friend. And by old, Andra, I mean that we've known each other for decades, because we're not old. We're just increasingly classic. Okay, let's see about some pictures here. So yeah, Japan. Anyone have any questions about Japan? The music was great. The people, the architecture, being on the bullet train again. Man, just a really cool and fascinating country to be in. And like any country, they have their problems, but I always try to find the shit that's working. I mean, I do that. Whatever the case may be, you have to. Imagine if you only looked for the shit that didn't work. Would you? Where would you live? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay, just trying to get my photo thing going here. It requires some screen sharing and some technology that I just understand on a basic level. Here we go. All right, so let's open that. All right, see if anyone. Hey, a few people on YouTube. Eddie, the one and only Eddie Rifkin. How are you, my friend? Hello, Sean. Eddie. Always, for me, it's like focusing the topic and getting it nailed in. And I'm here to talk about food and encourage people to try going meatless just one day a week. Let's, it's important to uh, keep an eye on what um, the basis of this is, and that's what's a very simple thing to just say, hey, can you try it for one day a week? So it's really great. I have 3 friends right now who've recently said, I want to try this out. Hopefully Bob, I'll leave out Bob's last name, but Bob, are you out there? Bob M. Are you online? But Bob has been trying it out for a couple months, and my friend Eddie has been trying it out for a couple months. So I love that, and I'd love to get your thoughts on stuff. Eddie, how's it going? And well, you just said, okay, cool. You have encouraged me to completely go vegan. It's an honor. I mean, because I did it because of other people just introducing the idea. So I love to pass that on. Much happier since, you say. Well, that's great, man. And we've touched base a couple of times. One thing I always do when people say that is not be a helicopter parent. And I see that. I think advocacy in anything is really important to just put it out there, talk about some stuff, and then get the fuck out. But I see sometimes, I've seen this because I've been in the natural foods industry for almost 20 years. You see a friend goes vegetarian or vegan or macrobiotic or raw or whatever subcategory. And then you see that other person just bugging them every day. Did you try this? Did you try that? Did you know that? Da ba 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 ba. Vitamin B. Blah 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 blah. Make sure you try this recipe. Blah 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 blah. And it's just too much. And that's true. Whether it's they just got into a form of music or they just got into. So I really bend over backwards always to just kind of say, that's great. I'm here if you have questions. I'm here if you need re-encouragement or something. But have a great journey and just let people find shit out themselves. I think that's really cool, and it just gives them a real organic, no pun intended, a real organic way to navigate, figure it out and kind of just get into it based on favorite foods or navigating, talking about it and stuff like that. So thank you, Eddie, for sharing that. Almost half a year now. That's fantastic. What would you say is like a staple? Like every week you kind of say, oh, let me make this, or because I always like to look at making it, again, simple for the next wave of people. What would you say you've kind of folded in and you kind of say, oh, I always do some beans and rice, or I love steaming broccoli and having it with some tempeh, or I love a grilled cheese sandwich with vegan cheese and whole grain bread. I don't know. I'm just riffing on some ideas. What would you say is kind of man, I hope it's okay to eat this every week. Is there something like that? That's just one thing as I pull some pictures up. Oso, how are you, my friend? With the influx of fast food chains in Japan, are they getting taller? Are the people getting taller? That's fun. You touch on an interesting point. There is some data out there about the Japanese diet changing over the decades, and you ask a great question, and something I've thought about and looked at for years and years. What led me into even looking into that was talking about dairy in the Japanese diet and a lot of Asian diets, Chinese diet, Thai food, Vietnamese food. A lot of these incredible cuisines don't have milk in them. If you think about it, if you think of going to a Chinese restaurant, there's nothing with milk. There's no cheese. There's no cheese sauce. There's nothing. There's nothing until some of those countries were quote unquote westernized and introduced to this mammalian food. And likewise, once these huge dairy industries in England, the USA, etc., India, realized, wow, an untapped market. This is going back 60, 70 years, 50 years in some cases. And you can really trace this. Dairy and cheese and yogurt and milk are relatively new in most of those countries. So this is a thing in Japan that you can read about. It's very well documented. And also, to your point of them getting taller, very well documented are some of the expected health issues when, a lot of dairy is introduced. Fortunately, it's still a pretty moderate consumption of dairy compared to, what we do in the Western world. But there is some stuff about affecting earlier puberty and slightly affecting size of babies and stuff like that. Yeah, you can chase that. Here it is. You can chase that rabbit hole, and there's a lot of chase down that rabbit hole. There's a lot of stuff about that. So very interesting. But yeah, it's funny with the fast food chains in Japan. I thought about that a lot too. They're there, but over the 13 years I've been going there, yeah, just about exactly 13 years, I can't say I've seen like, oh my God, there's so many more McDonald's or Starbucks or something. There's more Starbucks, of course. But you kind of see McDonald's here and there. But what's incredible and very enjoying about Japan, and there's Tokyo, and then there's the rest of Japan. Let's make that clear. If you've been there, you know that there's some differences. Just like New York City is not the USA, but yeah, been to a bunch of the big cities: Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Nagoya. Niigata, a couple of other ones, Tagasaki this time, Sapporo, which is a very big city on the northern island. But you kind of see these American chains. I'm trying to think if you see any Australian or English chains like Nando's and stuff like that. Not really. It's McDonald's. It's kind of the one. You see it sporadically, like you kind of have to Google one if that's what you're looking for. But what I love in Japan, one of the things, many things, is how much stuff is simply in Japanese. They don't give a fuck. I love it. It's a place where you kind of need to learn some Japanese. You don't have to, obviously, and you can get around fine, especially these days with the Google Translator. But I love that store after store after store, and restaurants especially, it just says something Japanese on the front. The menu is Japanese. Everything. It's on you. And many times you walk in and ohayou gozaimasu. Konnichiwa. English? Any English? No. You hear that more often than anything, that they don't. And I forget for a moment, sorry, I don't speak Japanese. These phrases, once you're not there saying stuff every day, you forget. But more often than not, you're on your own. Of course, in Tokyo, the curve goes way up of English-speaking people and places with English menus. And some of these places, they only know a couple phrases, and other than greetings and a couple of things, English menu is almost like, a quarter of what some people seem to know sometimes, which is incredible. But they know that, all right, if I can give you an English menu, you'll point and you'll figure this out. So that's what's very interesting. All right, I'm going to try to share. Oh, yeah, okay. I got to put this, do some math to get this, get these pictures to happen. But jumping back to see if there's questions as I go along. Todd Reynolds, hey, if I didn't respond already. Hey, good to see you in another forum. We were just chatting in 2 different forums, I think, which is always fun. Let's see. A lot of people commenting on YouTube. Sean is, okay, so Eddie, okay, so a favorite for Eddie so far: sauteed vegetables of all sorts and rice, and probably a decent amount of Beyond Burger, chopped up and mixed in all of it. Wraps and hummus as well. It's been awesome. Although, also do not underestimate pickle foods. Oh, dude, are you serious? I think you know my love for pickles. Obviously, you're speaking for the general, but yeah, pickles are my jam. I think I did a one of these episodes, almost a focus on pickle food. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, okay. Let's try that. Select all. Can we share screen here? How do I? All right. While I figure that out. Oh, okay. Jeez. Yeah, pickles are a favorite, and pickles are really kind of a man. Just kind of a necessity. A necessity. I'm going to insist that they are. Because if you're not eating some pickled food, folks, I don't know. And people will fight that, and people will say whatever. But the fact is, and one of the things I want to talk about at some point is this documentary about blue zones that's on, I think it's on Netflix. And it's come up before, we've talked about it, but we finally started watching it. And I was very aware of blue zones. They go back quite some time, people talking about them. But one of the things in the blue zones, which are zones where people have great longevity and or very low rates of the common kind of degenerative diseases, all the syndrome X type inflammation diseases, heart disease, high amount of strokes, heart attacks, cardiac stuff. What else? Certain cancers, certain glandular cancers, all the stuff that's super common in the Western world, and especially the USA, and then England, and France, Germany, Italy, like kind of the kind of G7 westernized countries that have too much processed food, too much um, uh, uh, whatever, bad fats, and et cetera. Now, again, some of those are really low on the list. Like France eats really good, even though there's a high animal content in their food. It's incredible quality, and it's balanced by eating tons and tons of fruits and vegetables and fermented foods, which is kind of the point I'm making. So the U.S. is really where those numbers are horrific. And before someone gets offended and why don't you like America? No, it's called numbers, and we're the third largest population on Earth, the third, biggest population on Earth. Some people don't seem to know that or remember that, and we're certainly, you know, way ahead in some of these unfortunate diseases for the amount of first world healthcare that we have. So with that in mind, just looking again at pickles, and you look around the world, and many of the healthier people have, the Japanese, which is what we're talking about, have all these pickles. Oh my God! You get them at breakfast, you get them at lunch, you get pickles at every meal. Pickled daikon, pickled ginger, pickled radish, pickled burdock, and gobo. They call it is the word in Japanese. Pickled turnips and cucumbers and I I can't even list how many other things. Um, Nearby in Korea, you have kimchi, hundreds of types of kimchi as you move around Korea, different styles, different spiciness level, different types of things that are in it. Just like you move around Italy, you're going to find different types of sauces. Chunkier over here, more garlic over here. This one tends to have some seafood in it, some sardines for flavor. This one always has cheese. This one never has cheese. You have all these different variations around Italy, and we tend to lump these things in. But a consistent thing is fermented food in so many of these cultures. A lot of African cultures, there's fermented fruits and fermented grains that are used. Of course, fermentation of grains opens up things like alcohol and wine. Wine as one of the alcohols that's a fermented food. For instance, we know in the French diet, a lot of wine. In the Italian diet, Argentinian diet, a lot of wine, which we know has great health results. So there's a lot there about fermentation and pickles and fermented food. Absolutely on board, and every human should learn and find out what fermented foods they might like. Again, bring it back to Japan. Besides all the pickles that you find and you can get in any Japanese restaurant, is miso. Miso itself is a fermented food, a soybean-based food. Natto, which I think I have some pictures of, is yet another kind of fermented food made from soybeans. Let's see. See if I can do this. Get some photos. So a little bit on pickles there to just think about. But that's awesome, Eddie, that you've got a nice go-to where you're like, you know what? I got X minutes. I'm going to saute some vegetables and rice. Wow. You, along with millions around the planet, that's such a good basic thing. Lentils and rice, beans and rice, whether it's Cuba or Ghana or Jamaica or, Dublin, Ireland, or places in Turkey or, India. You can go all around the world. Poland, beans, grains as a basic thing, is also a thing that reflects the economy in so many places. So that's great that you've got like a good, cool, basic thing. Okay, going back to Facebook, see if there's... Sabina, how are you, my friend? Been forever that I've been on. Been forever that I've seen any of you. Robin Gelberg, I know who that is. Hello, my dear. Pickles are my jam. Well, jam was going to be one of the topics today. Going to come to her in a little bit, but nice reference. It's been about 1 week. 1 week and an hour that we said goodbye to our girl. Do we pickle any food at home on a regular basis? No, it's been many, many years. I think we pickled some cukes like a couple years ago, I thought. I feel like we just had a couple cukes in the backyard. But been many years. Tried pickles many years ago, and it's cool, it's fun. Pickled some peppers many years ago. Habaneros and jalapenos. Really got to do it again. It doesn't take much effort at all. So easy, and one of the most ancient human food preparation things is drying and smoking and salting and then pickling, because just water and salt and you have a pickling medium. That's the most simple one. And then vinegar, which itself is a fermented result of different things, grapes and apples and rice, and you can make vinegar from many things. Wheat, great pickling medium because it breaks the food down a little bit. So thanks to the reminder that this spring or summer, when some of the peppers come in, might do that. But I love pickling. Been a while. Aloha from sunny Rhode Island. Yes, only in the year of our global warming century can we say hi from sunny Rhode Island on February, whatever it is. What is it? It's the 19th, I think. Diego, how are you, my friend? Much love, my brother, and love how the new band sounds, by the way, and love that recent video you dropped. Good to hear from you, bro. I still haven't done, actually, my plant-based report of being in Mexico, which Mexico City is enjoying an explosion of plant-based food, vegan food. I mean, it's fantastic, and really not that surprising, because Mexican food is so much about the vegetables, that it's very easy to just go and leave out one thing, and then you're still left with the avocado, the nopales, the beans, the 4 types of beans, the tortillas, the 5 types of salsa, the 4 types of roasted peppers. You're left with all this wonderful stuff. The papas. So thanks for reminding me about Mexico City. I'm behind on everything. My schedule, I'm just, going through an interesting time management part of my life. Will Ulrich says, Japanese is hard because of fish in everything. Yeah, a true statement. I would just I would adjust that and say challenging. It's challenging. The two countries that I find challenging, I've only been to four of the continents. And I say only because until you've been to the African continent, huge African continent, you know, you're kind of getting started. So I acknowledge that, but I've been on tour a number of times to each of them, to the other continents. The only ones I have left are Africa and Antarctica. But no matter where I go, Argentina is easier than Spain and Japan. Germany is incredibly easy. Germany is actually one of the most vegetarian-friendly places. Again, people go, really? I thought they just eat all these worsts. Again, that's our perception. But Spain and Japan have their own little thing. And again, I would say challenging. And having been to both many times, you know, once you crack the code, once you understand how to communicate with someone bringing your food or making food, it's not that bad. One of the things I do, and I'll show this on my phone. Let's see. One of the things I do is carry around this little stuff on my little album that I have in my phone. Where is it? And it's just Japanese words in English, so I can say them, and in Japanese, so I can hold them up, and just some basic stuff. Let's just show that and kind of give an idea. Where am I? Okay, here we go. Let's see if the camera can. Oh, see, the camera's gonna green screen it out. Shit. You know, I'll try to share this or something, but let's see. It's not gonna work because of the contrast. Well, anyway, I have these little things that, again, in English with the little phonetic pronunciation, and in Japanese, in kanji, in the Japanese letters. So I have just tell you what they randomly are. Vegan. Please, thank you. How are you? No meat, oniku nashi. No fish, sakana nashi. Some of those I just remember. Shokubutsu no mi. That means plants only. Shokubutsu is plants, plant-based. Shokubutsu shokohin. Plant food. All the various ways to say plant food. Sorry about my butchering of the pronunciation, but Mitore suborosu wa arimasu ka? Yeah, and that means, do you have meatless broth? Very important sentence in a ramen place. And I'd say, let's talk about some realities. I'd say one out of every five might say yes. Maybe one out of every seven. Depends where you are. But again, not impossible, but a challenge. Daigaku imu, which is one of my favorite street foods. That is means sweet potatoes. It's a delicious flash fried sweet potatoes with like a sweet rice syrup or maple syrup type thing drizzled on it, and some sesame seeds. So it's piping hot with like crispy outside, pillowy soft inside of these sweet potatoes. They're just amazing, and they're $1 or less equivalent on the street. So I love those. Anyway, those are some of the little phrases. Miso shiro daisuki means I love miso soup. Sakana na miso shiro. That's an attempt to ask for miso without bonito or sardines in the dashi. Boy, I'm forgetting all this stuff I was saying a couple weeks ago. I forget what that one was, but in any event. So let's try here. See if this works. Okay. I don't even know if that works. Let's see. Let's see if this works, folks. Let me get a drink. While I see if my pictures work, Look what we found in the store just yesterday. This is simply unsweetened green tea from Japan. And I'm so happy that this is the one that they would bring me in Japan. At the Blue Note, they just had, the hot iced tea, but at some point they got us some cold iced tea, and this was it. All right, the pictures work. So, all right, we're going to go through. Man, I love green tea and have for a long time, but my love for green tea got so extreme on this trip because we had so much good green tea, and being there for 3.5 weeks really got to try some regional versions of tea and rice and sake. I was amazed that you could tell the different rice in Japan, and we went to the rice growing region. So okay, this right here, and I can recognize from the sushi with the nori rolled, and as many of you know, sushi is one of the most uh, misused, is that the right word? One of the most accidentally inaccurate phrases. A lot of people think sushi means fish. So when you tell them you eat sushi as a vegetarian, there's sometimes confusion. And sushi, you can look it up. Sushi specifically means vinegared rice. It kind of refers to the rice. And it's very funny. I'm just sidebar. My Facebook memory is showing me a bowl of miso soup from 11 years ago. That's funny. So yeah, I'm a broken record. So, but sushi in general just means vinegared rice. It refers to the rice, but as an umbrella term, of course, when people say we're going out for sushi, they mean the everything. The sashimi, which is the fish and the seafood. They mean the onigiri. They might mean the tamago. There's different words that describe the different types of things you can get. But the sashimi is generally the fish. I can't remember if there's a different word for the things like octopus and jellyfish and stuff that isn't typical fish. I seem to remember there is a word, but sashimi is fine. That covers everything. But in any event, this picture tells me this was the breakfast at the hotel we were at. And I'm so fortunate to be at this hotel for 2 weeks because we spent a week doing solo shows and another week doing shows with a trio with the great Ron Carter on bass player from many, many important groups, but very famously the 60s and early 70s Miles Davis groups, into the mid 70s even. But so Ron Carter and the wonderful young drummer Joe Dyson, up and coming incredible drummer, who was part of that trio. So we were there for 2 weeks at the same hotel. And while this looks like something incredible at a really nice restaurant, this is simply hotel buffet. Can you believe that? This is nothing. I don't want to say nothing special because it's incredibly special, but this is just what you'd get in most Japanese hotels. And this was exceptional. So kind of clockwise from the top left, I have a little bowl there of mixed beans. You can see kind of kidney beans, chickpeas, some sort of soybean in there. Of course, there's 100 types of soybeans, at least, probably hundreds, right? But nice little bean salad, and then a little plate with my sushi accoutrement, fresh ginger, some wasabi, and a little bit of soy sauce. And so I had that. And then you could see some pickles, then some shredded radish, some pickled, maybe there's some spinach up at the top, like similar to spinach type of green, just wilted. And then some salad, some radicchio and some other salad. And on the bottom right, looks like some pickled something. Oh, pickled celery. That was great. That was a nice touch. Wow, delicious. I love celery. Pickled is, wow, what an overlooked thing. And then on the bottom right, something that I really recommend everyone go out and purchase immediately if you want to emphasize your digestion and um, optimize your digestion is the little reddish ball on the bottom right. That's an umeboshi plum. That's a pickled umeboshi plum. I can't say enough about umeboshi. Please look that up. U-M-E. They're often just called ume plums. U-M-E. You'll see ume plum vinegar. But umeboshi is the full spelling. U-M-E-B-O-S-H-I. Umeboshi plum. And they're incredible. And they're really a staple in the Japanese diet. You see the plums at almost every meal like this, and you eat one or two with your meal. Or you see them, and it has a seed in the middle of it, it's kind of like it's a plum. So it's kind of like a little shriveled up apricot or a plum that we're familiar with. So the flesh is similar to a plum, and then the seed, the pit, is kind of that typical plum apricot kind of a pit. But you can eat the whole thing. In fact, I don't know what happens if you eat 2 or 3, because I certainly do. What happens is you feel great. I've never had ill effect from eating umeboshi plums. They're probably a little salty, but that's a whole other discussion. Our concept of saltiness in the Western diet and how we approach it. So umeboshi plum. So you can get it kind of shredded up as the plums, or just whole plums like this, or ume plum vinegar, which I also highly recommend in your pantry if you like to cook, if you like different flavors, if you like to design umami and different flavors. Umeboshi plum is one of the most incredible things you can add to that arsenal. I have a little bit on salad as a salad dressing. I use it in soups and misos and miso soups, miso shiro. I use it over steamed greens, a little splash. So umeboshi plums and umeboshi plum vinegar, if there's nothing else you take away today, and you want to optimize your digestion and kind of intestinal health, read about umeboshi plums. So there you have it. This is just in a hotel buffet. I mean, right? Incredible. And the nori roll is, as you can see, cukes and carrots and gobo, which is burdock, and a lot of sesame seeds, and rice and nori. So again, if you're trying to go a little more meat-free, Japanese restaurants are an excellent place to go in or get a few veggie rolls. Very easy to get a meatless meal in a Japanese restaurant. Get a nice ginger salad, whatever, sesame ginger dressing typically. Get yourself a couple of veggie rolls, the cucumber roll or a mixed veggie roll, or avocado roll, asparagus roll. Incredible. Avocado in these rolls is amazing, because then you've got a superior fat, a little bit of grain, the incredible minerals and vitamins that are in nori and in root vegetables, and sesame for more fat and protein. So a really great compact way to get a lot of stuff in a fun food. So there you go. That's one typical breakfast. Let's keep going. So this is, I think, the same day. You can see I've got some fresh fruit. I probably had some green tea that day, but some fruit and nuts to take up to my room. The room is always important as a little kitchen. I thought this was just a nice composition. Something like a kiwi. It wasn't quite a kiwi. You find so many incredible fruits in anywhere you travel around the world, but in Japan, because they have a lot of fruits that grow in the south of Japan, where it's quite tropical actually. Okinawa and the southern island, southern tip of the big island gets quite warm. And then they also get stuff from the Philippines and from Southeast Asia. But you have these incredible fruits, dragon fruit and papayas, mangoes, pineapples, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of things that I had no idea of the name, but you could see this is some cousin of kiwi, and it was delicious. This is a typical meal I had at the Blue Note. You all know the name, the Blue Note. The Blue Note is the famous jazz club that exists around the world. There's a few of them. I've worked at the Milan Blue Note and the Tokyo Blue Note. I think one more, maybe in Australia somewhere. Actually, never worked the New York Blue Note, but I've been there. Glug glug glug. Excuse me. Thirsty and so this was a beautiful meal. And if you're thinking Black Flag, then yeah, look at that. Have the Black Flag logo a little bit. But this was a staple for me. Once the wonderful chefs at the Blue Note Tokyo were explained very clearly what my diet was, which is actually so simple. Please leave out the animals. That's it. People think this whole thing is complicated and, how do you survive? It's funny, the amount of stress from some of my meat and fish eating friends writing to me in Japan, people I was in touch with would text and say, "Oh, it must be a living hell. There's no way you can eat there without eating fish. There's no way." And again, they're just projecting, I don't know, the meals they had. But when you think about it, once you take out, especially in Japanese cuisine, I will argue, once you take out the pork, chicken, beef is a big deal there. Like the very expensive beef and the Kobe beef, and I forget the name of the other one. That's Wagyu. It's Wagyu beef. Something with a W. There's a couple very special, expensive types of beef, but so it's very expensive, and so it's not an everyday thing. The everyday things are pork, chicken, and all manner of fish and sea animals. Um, and then after that, you see beef, as I say, but it tends to be a little more specialized. But you have steakhouses and stuff. You have a couple layers there. But once you have pulled out those main three things, you're left with hundreds of other things. That's what's always funny to me. People kind of, what are you going to eat? And I'm like, the other 97% of the items, you know. But it takes a minute to click into what you mean by that. But I always tell people, especially Chinese food, Japanese food, Korean food, Thai food, you think about all those of you who like chicken or beef in some of those cuisines. Some of those cuisines don't touch pork because of the Islamic basis, depending on what we're talking. But if you think about any of your favorite meat dishes, they're usually in there with 8 or 10 vegetables, right? With broccoli and Chinese cabbage and celery and sometimes tofu. Some of the main kind of Chinese pork dishes, some of the main Japanese pork dishes have tofu in there. It's very funny. And there's cashews and, of course, the grains and 10 types of mushrooms. So you have this funny thing where once you pull the meat out, there's actually a whole ton of stuff. Anyway, so once these folks were made clear that I would prefer food made without any pork, without any fish-based dashi. Dashi is pretty much translates as stock. So the stock that you would make your miso soup with, or the stock that you would cook some vegetables. I'd say, if you study dashi, there's kind of 5 typical types, and 3 of them have fish in them, or of some sort, sardine, or more commonly, forgetting the word for it, but tuna flakes. Forgetting the word right now. Someone can chime in. Bonito flakes, tuna flakes, very common, and then sardine, and then mackerel in dried kind of powder form usually, or just crunched up into there. Dashi almost always has kombu, seaweed, and almost and a couple of the 4 or 5 main types have shiitake. So there's a couple of vegan dashis that you can make, and they would make me a miso soup every day. So this is what they made typically otherwise. Some different type of mushrooms, and the mushrooms changed from day to day, and some type of tofu that they just kind of flash fried, and a little bit of furikake, like Japanese spices. That's a typical meal right there. A beautiful salad, with all kinds of real interesting greens and stuff, actually. Oh, I can zoom in. I mean, it's right. It's like if you look in there, there's some kind of purslane, kind of serious dark greens going on, and berries. And then this is probably that same day. But amazing miso soup. They would bring me this piping hot miso, again, very specifically made from scratch without fish. But they would vary it, scallions or regular onions, or both, or tofu or mushrooms. One of the above would be missing. And it just changed every day. Really beautiful artistic statement. Japanese food of all types, really. I mean, of course, all food around the world, cuisine, is an expression of artistic effort, of course. But just like the Japanese calligraphy and Japanese ink art, things like that, kind of has its own kind of place and is beloved around the world. So the cooking too is very very creative, very artistic. So this was like a typical lunch, and the bananas are delicious. This is another day, as you can see, but you can see it's kind of similar. Mushrooms are a little different. I would see the mushrooms because I would talk to the kitchen people that are really nice, and there was amazing mushrooms came in every day because they use them in all these different dishes. I will say the tofu in Japan is next level as well. You would think tofu is tofu. Unbelievable how fresh it was in some of these places. And a couple restaurants that I ate in, they make it themselves that morning. So you can't beat that. Tofu made in the restaurant hours before you got there. And just amazing, the freshness. So those are some typical lunches. This looks like, okay, that looks like the same day when the soup arrived. This soup was a little different. Today, as they did a couple days, there's, what's it called again? Yuba. Yuba is tofu skin. And amazing. It's just this nice texture of the outer skin, really, of the tofu. I think it's been steamed, and then they lop off that part that changes texture. So tofu skin can be used in a lot of different recipes. You can fry it till it's crisp. You can put it in soups like this. Really great textural thing. A little zoom in there on that particular soup. And of course, hey, let's not forget what's vegan is the entire world of amazing fruits and raw fruits, which these are kind of Western fruits mixed in with some tropical there. There's some melon and there was some, usually there's pineapple and grapes, which I don't know where those are coming from, possibly South America. So the same issues of food traveling too far pop up. But a bunch of the other stuff, though, the melons, and they grew berries there, actually. Someone explained a lot of hydroponic berry growth. And then the tropical things like kiwis and stuff. Here is daigaku imo, which is, as I said before, the kind of a popular street food. And daigaku imo means university potatoes because it's a cheap food that you eat when you're broke and you're a broke-ass student because it's under $1 for like a little serving like this. You get it piping hot in a little paper wrap, and you watch them just, drop these sweet potatoes that have been chunked up, drop them into hot oil very quickly. They come back out, a little drizzle of a sweet syrup and black sesame seeds, and they are incredible. So they did those at the Blue Note. In fact, I brought them up early on in my trip, and I said, "Oh, I love daigaku imo." And what I love about these folks and how welcoming they are is, a couple days later, they prepared some from scratch. They kind of listen and find out what your favorite thing is, and really design. They want you to be just kind of comforted. So, okay, let's turn that off. There's the first round of kind of some foods. Let's see any comments and thoughts. And responses. Going over to YouTube. Okay, cool. We're caught up there. Bonito. Thank you, Bob Bob Carty. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Thanks, Bob. Yes, I had a brain fart there, but I finally did remember. Bonito, indeed. So bonito thing you're gonna find in soups. Okay, so going back to catch up on any comments. Let me put this in the corner. Let's see. Okay, great. Scott says, great points on pickling. You've never cared for pickles themselves. You said that, yeah. But you eat plenty of pickle items like pickled jalapenos, onions, gardeniera, kimchi. Well, that's good. Then you're slipping a lot of pickles by for someone not caring for them. Which is your point, yeah. You get them in there. Yeah, anyway, and even certain mustards, are given some good fermentation energy. Yeah, we got to have fermented food. Got to. And someone out there's going, no, I don't. Well, you don't, and you're just not going to have optimum digestion, or even, pretty basically functional digestion. Your biome, your gut biome. Wow, the microbiology of the gut is so important to study a bit and understand a bit, and kind of say, well, what can I do to optimize? Because it's where a lot of stuff starts. Our immune system, all kinds of things. So okay, so that's the first round of pictures. Let's look at some more pictures. Let's see. I gotta finally figure out how to do this. Okay, Japan. So let's do this. Select photos. We saw that bank. Okay, cool. We'll do these. It seems like 10 of them took a little while to load. Let's try 15 this time. Let's add that. Okay, so as long as that takes the load, doesn't matter. Questions, comments, thoughts, anyone? I thought I would talk just about the food part of this. And because there's so much to talk about Japan, the people, the architecture, the music, what it's like touring there, and time management. I'm just trying to figure out ways to do more of this connectivity stuff while I get my brain together. But okay, so a couple of things. So what is this? Oh, I think this is going to be another morning in my hotel, our hotel. And again, we were there like 14 days. We had a day off and then 6 shows, another day off and 6 shows. So let's see, out of 14 breakfasts, I think I missed it 3 times, 4 times. One time we were going out to an incredible lunch at an all mushroom restaurant that I'll share some pictures. Yeah, an all mushroom restaurant. I mean, they had things to eat with the mushrooms, rice and different things, and other vegetables, and very little flesh, though, very little meat. And the colleagues I went with all ate a completely plant-based lunch, which was awesome to be around. And 2 of them are not plant-based people, though they love plant-based food, and one of them is pescatarian. And so, but we had this incredible meal, all mushrooms. My point being that the other 12 or 11 times I reported for breakfast every day. I mean, who wouldn't? Look at this again. I challenge you to point me to a restaurant that has food looking this good. Very similar to the other meal. I mix it up a little bit each day. This time I had, again, some veggie rolls. You can see the ginger the wasabi, which was killer wasabi, and a lot of greens in Japanese cuisine. And this is kind of like a relative of somewhere between spinach or kale or kalaloo, as we know in the Caribbean. Just a delicious green that they steam up. What did we have today? We had a couple umeboshi plums, some red pepper flakes. You know, getting spicy in the Japanese umami is not really, you know, they've got wasabi, they have that horseradish vibe, and of course the whole allium family. You can get some spicy onions and stuff, but hot spicy, like kind of what Thai food, Indian food, Mexican food, that kind of note, which I love, is not so much a thing. In Japanese groceries, every once in a while you find ones that have hot sauce. You can find like Tabasco everywhere. But what's up and coming there is all these crazy hot sauces, you know, Scorpion and Ghost and Burn Your Head Off.com and all that stuff. It's starting to be a growth thing there. So if you, someone who makes super hot, spicy stuff, go to Japan. You've got this market of, you know, more than 1/3 of the United States population. And they love food, and they do love spice, but it's still in its infancy. Anyway, to find some red pepper flakes was rare, actually, in all the hotels we stayed. This one had it, maybe one other, and I put some on there, and they were really spicy. What's this? I forget, it's like mushrooms. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe some pickled burdock, some kind of vegetable, of course. That goes without saying. Just a nice salad. Where was this? This was backstage sometime. A typical backstage thing. See some rice cakes and pretzel type stuff up top. Some fresh fruit. Another different day. Again, almost every day they brought me tofu and a variety of mushrooms and some sometimes sauteed vegetables, sometimes grilled vegetables, and salad. And the miso soup. You can see this one was very scallion heavy with daikon in it. That's what was amazing, how the palette of the miso for the creativity of the chef is like almost like an empty palette, you know, that every day he would they would come up with something cool to paint on there. Let's see. Let me go back to see if there's any questions. There we go. So okay, keeping going on these pictures. Same meal. Where was this? Oh, this was just out on the street. I was out on a walk, and I saw a plant-based restaurant. I said, you know what? Kind of hungry. Let's stop in. Really great place, and they had this soup, which is it was a nice hot, piping hot veggie soup, and it had some sort of like pea-based or soy-based kind of, you know, chicken alternative type thing. As anyone knows, who's hung out at this stream before, I'm conflicted about all that stuff. The stuff that's exactly like different flesh foods. They're fine, and I have them from time to time. And when I'm in a place like this that's 100% plant-based, I will try them out. But in general, if I have a choice, I'll go for beans or tempeh or seitan or something. But these things are fun. I think that speaks to my first issue. When I'm in a place where they're cooking actual chicken, the animal chicken, and then they're cooking some stuff that's identical, I just get nervous. I get nervous about the newbie teenager in the back who's slinging stuff around and gets it wrong and sends me some fucking dead cow, or you know. So I almost never have this stuff in a Mexican setting or like, you know, Thai or Chinese or something. Just not going to do it. Maybe that's just me, paranoid. Sometimes it looks so different, like if it's, you know, some of these wheat-based little cutlets or something. But in general, so that was fun. But delicious soup, incredible hot, gingery, spicy soup. which is my jam. That's like heaven to me right there. I make this a lot at home. This is it. That's wow. That's my stuff right there that you're looking at. A brothy, thick with vegetables. Just a quick, incredibly aromatic, savory soup with onions and greens and maybe some beans at the bottom and ginger and garlic and some hot peppers. Love it. So that was really cool to stumble across that randomly. Same place. This was just like the mixed vegetables, I think. No, wait, no. This is my bento box. One of them. Many times I would skip dinner at the Blue Note and instead take a bento box to the hotel room. One of my problems is eating really late, but we would be done sometimes 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I'd be eating not too late, especially if I was going to take a walk about or if we were going out for a drink. I'd grab a quick bite in the hotel room. And this was typical. Bento box with a little rice, some of that amazing spinach-like stuff. Turnips on this night, just cut in half and kind of grilled. And you can see some tofu off to the left. Nice mix of stuff. This is some other bento box, another night. Some salad, some pasta with kind of pasta primavera with a vegan pesto and some tomatoes, and then another wonderful bean salad. And that must be a typical kind of a bean salad recipe because as you can see, it's kind of similar to the one in the hotel breakfast. So that's like a thing to kind of make a 3-bean salad. Kind of looks just like that. So that was cool. Just another shot of that same meal. Got a nice Japanese espresso. I'm sorry, an Italian espresso in a Japanese place. This place was cool. Again, I was out on a walkabout one of those days, and I just saw this Italian-themed coffee spot. You know, the Japanese guy speaking Italian to an Italian guy when I went in, and all the decorations, all the stuff, all the pastries, very Italian. So I said, oh, yeah, that's cool. Let's have an espresso. So that was cool. A different day in the hotel. And you could see I tended to get a couple of the same things every day, but I'd mix it up. You know, there's a couple pieces of those nori rolls, which look a little different today. And I got a salad with some, you know, different vegetables here today. And you can see some pickled, what is that again? Pickled, is that pickled cukes with beets or something to make it red? I can't remember. A couple ume plums up top. Again, I would just eat a few of those. And this day they had like a vegan, not meatball type thing. Like it was like soy and chickpea based meatballs in a sauce. So they had a couple vegan entrees, and I think that's shredded carrots up top. So every day a little different in the hotel and the buffet. This is yet another bento box. They would pack me these boxes when I didn't eat dinner. This might be the same one though from another angle, but I don't think the other one had tofu. But you get the idea. Some variation on tofu, beans, rice, mixed vegetables, sauteed vegetables, sometimes asparagus. This is a cool look at a shopping trip that I did. What do we have? Kind of clockwise from that bag of crisps. Yeah, some sort of lentil-based crisps. That was fun. Just a vegan crisp. Giant corn. I got a kick out of some of the names of stuff in Japan, and you can't get more descriptive than that. Just crunchy giant corn. Then we have some various nuts, some cashews, some truffle-flavored mixed nuts, some regular mixed nuts. And if you see the 7-Eleven logo, you might recognize because 7-Eleven is one of the big convenience stores there. There's Lawson, 7-Eleven, and Family Mart. What else did I get? I must have been into a couple stores here, but yes, I got some stuff. One thing I've talked about a lot is my little miso kitchen, my mobile miso kitchen. And sure enough, in Japan, I had my little mobile miso kitchen, which means my thermos. I did not carry my kettle because there's one in every hotel room. But what I would do is stock my fridge with stuff to make miso soup. So I had some miso, which you can get like Coca-Cola in Japan. Unbelievable, the miso section in any you know grocery. Unbelievable, like floor to 6 feet up and 6 or 8 feet across, shelf filled with 100 types of miso. Um, but I have some miso, and then I got like some edamame you could see, and some mushrooms, and some shishito peppers, and then don't forget, all important for miso, the scallions, the green onions. So those were great, and I would have that in the hotel room, be able to make some miso shiro. And the citrus was exceptional when we were there. The season, incredible citrus. So, a ton of oranges, tangerines, grapefruits, tangelos, different things. And of course, can't be in Japan without some good sake. And this was just sake. You can get sake and beer and everything, wine, gin, vodka, whatever your delight might be, 10 types of whiskey in a convenience store, 24 hours. So it's a drinking ass country, man. You to generalize, you will see a lot of alcohol going down in Japan. It's actually a problem in some segments of society, but you can get alcohol 24/7 in a 7-Eleven, which, for better or worse, this is just an idea of the different types of mushrooms in a place I went. Yes, more plastic, and every once in a while you'd see something that said biodegradable plastic or something like that. But by and large, first world country, and unfortunately, one of the same downsides of too much plastic everywhere. They do a much better job of collecting it and recycling and all that, but yeah, too much plastic. This is a typical just vegetables area. All these amazing different greens and vegetables, and so no problem in finding stuff. And this is soup I made from scratch in my room. I just, had a carrot, had some daikon, and some different stuff to put in soup. Mushrooms, I think, are in there too. Okay, so that. Oops. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, got rid of that. Okay, back to see if there's any questions. And I'm gonna do one more round and then jump out of here. YouTube. Eddie says I could definitely adopt that soup recipe. Yeah, bro. I'll hit you with that. That's again, I'm so behind on this stuff, but I did a little video of how do I make my miso soup. This was in early November. That's how long I've been sitting on it. But we were on tour, and I carry a Pelican, like a carry-on 1510 size Pelican, so it's carry-on size that you can fit under the seat in an airline flight, just to give you an idea of the size. And inside that, I have everything I need to make soup except the water. I have the kettle that it cooks in. I have the kettle that I cook the water, that I boil the water. So I also use it for tea and stuff. And then I have a thermos, which is the key that you cook everything in. And I took the thermos only to Japan. But also in this Pelican, I've got the thermos, the kettle, a bamboo chopping board, a knife, and then things like one of those little toothpaste tubes of ginger, another one of garlic, some dried cilantro, nori, dulse, some garlic cloves, a thing of sesame oil, maybe some furikake spices, just a bunch of stuff that you might use in soup. And the only thing I need to get on a daily basis is the water. So any hotel room, I'll boil tap water. It's cool. I get spring water if I could, and then I have miso with me in a bowl, and appropriate chopsticks and spoons and stuff. So it's really awesome. I just roll into a hotel room, and I always know that I got a hot meal. And the only thing I can add sometimes is if there's from the catering at the gig, I might grab some carrots or whatever, some anything, some carrots, some sweet peppers, a bit of broccoli, anything to throw in the soup. So I will at some point put that video together and put it here. But the actual recipe for miso soup is incredibly simple, and one of the cooler things to learn how to do, because it's so simple. All right, let's do one more bank of pictures here. Let's select photos. There we go. Okay, we saw those. This is not even all the pictures from Japan. I still have to go through. So let's add that. Okay, we're going to share this. So Derek Schulten says, never mind, edamame. Yeah, I got some edamame, exactly. I also learned about, is it kuromame? Kuromame, which is incredible. It's this snack of black soybeans that are sweet. So let's go through just a couple more pictures here. So this one, I think we left off with that one. Actually, did I make this one? I can't remember. It looks like one that I made, though. It's all a blur. Another incredible melange of mushrooms. Just like 6 types of mushrooms. Incredible mushrooms. Maybe the masters of mushroom cuisine. Because I, again, went to an all-mushroom restaurant, which I'll share some other time. And but every restaurant really has this thing with mushrooms. The ramen restaurants, sushi and sashimi restaurants. I mean, you can always get a mushroom something or other as a vegetarian or semi-vegetarian or whatever you might be in Japan. Very easy. Mushrooms are very common. And again, every day they found a way to make them a little different mix, different combination, different spices. So that was good. Same picture, or same stuff arranged in the black flag logo. And you could just see something that they brought, some habanero hot sauce. Again, not normally on a Japanese table. Here's a couple bento boxes that I got that they sent with me with my name, Andre. Tofu and daikon, kind of a pasta fra diavolo type thing. And I talked about this, but we haven't seen it yet. Natto. Natto is a bit of an acquired taste, but it's amazing. It's fermented soybeans that have this sticky, stringy texture. You eat it with a bit of mustard and soy sauce. Incredible for digestion. Really great little staple. And then we have a salad, and then another mushroom dish, like more of like the button mushrooms that we're used to. So that was a nice meal in the hotel room. I think this is that meal. No, and this is just another day where things are kind of separate. And there's some really nice whole grain bread. Just a little root vegetable salad that they had at another hotel. This is, you see some Hokkaido squash. I think that's the kind of squash. Sweet potato, white potato, carrot, just incredible. Nice root vegetables. A little pickle plate. Pickled, I think that's daikon or turnip. Umeboshi plums on top left, and then some pickled cabbage, and just pickles in Japan if you care to look for them. This is a different day, same hotel, but you could see I would get pick a few similar things. This day I got some little baby mushrooms, And it was great because in these hotels, again, you have to ask everything because a lot of things you can look at and it looks like it's all vegetables, but you have to ask. And to Will's point earlier, I think that's the challenge in Spain and Japan. You have to ask because what might look like just some seaweed or something has mackerel in it. So I'll tell you, you just never assume. But once they understand and they bring someone out who speaks English or someone who's got it down, it's great because they really can walk you through all the choices and show you what's what. Yet another breakfast in I can't see which hotel this is, but there's the little package of natto that you'd get every day, and I smuggled a few of those home because we love natto here. So a little different. This must be the main restaurant. I know that because that's the only place I got the nori rolls. And today there's some burdock, I think. They didn't always have a vegan burdock. They did that day back in the hotel room. Yet another meal with a wonderful fresh tofu that was in this place. Oh, I remember this place. This was in Awate province, a place called Marioko, I think. But this town, and I'm not going to say in the middle of nowhere, but far away from the main, Osaka, Nagoya, Tokyo, Kyoto, those kind of big cities. And this was wonderful to go to this part of Japan. It felt really old, and the hotel was older. You didn't really see any of the touristy stuff. It was really great, and we flew over the Japanese Alps to get here. But anyway, their food was different in the hotel, and again, the mushrooms, some pickled ginger and stuff, and they had this specially marked container of plant-based meat, it said. So it was, again, kind of like a shredded, I don't know, shredded chicken type thing, but made of soy and chickpeas and stuff. Very clearly marked, very clearly said everything that was in it. So that was cool. For some reason, that hotel had that. And then they had this fresh tofu, which some people might, just think, oh, that's so bland. Well, there's something about very fresh tofu. I mean, you have the notes of a very fresh bean. It's made from very fresh edamame, but something about it. And then, a little bit of sauce on there. So that was great. And again, different pickles. Same place, just different angle. Is it? Yeah, same, different kind of a close up. And these you can get at 7-Eleven. Is onigiri. And you open the package and it kind of you wrap it yourself. You wrap the nori around the rice. It's got a triangle of rice, and often has fish in it. But they make quite a few like with plant-based, like natto in the middle, or umeboshi plum mashed up with carrot and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how it starts. You open it up, and you have this piece of nori, and then the rice ball with whatever is inside of it. You wrap it up, and you have this quick little snack. So that's just a little bit of what happened. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to wrap up, but let's see if there's any questions or comments. Eddie says, silly question. Is this kit carry-on item on flights? Not a silly question at all. And it is. Yeah, the one I use in the States, see if I can close with some pictures of that. Yeah, the one I carry around in the States is carry-on. Although I have checked it. And it's see if I can find some pictures. I promise I will do a thing at some point of just what it's like to tour with this little rig that I have. Let me see if I can find this. I think I can real quick. Let's see. But while I'm looking, let's see if there's any further questions or comments or thoughts or let's see. It's getting close. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. That's San Diego. I'm looking through these pictures and kind of going, okay, which part of the country am I? Okay, so right here is where I have some not really finding. Okay, oh yeah, that would be. When the hell was that? Right after San Francisco. Here we go. All right, well let's focus on some questions. But yes, Eddie, you can do that as carry on. When I do carry it on, I take the knife out. That's it. And depending on how much miso I have, because things like pastes and peanut butters and stuff, some TSA is funny about that. So, but if I have like a small tube of miso, or to be safe, I'll just throw that in my checked luggage. The miso itself and the a knife if I have a knife. But otherwise, yeah, everything else is carry on. Wow, where did I? Okay, focus. Bob says that all looks delicious. Thanks. Yes, it does, Bob. Thank you. Thanks for spending your time here a little bit. Robert Monroe Jr., what's up, bro? Good to see you. And how is your plant-based journey? Share with the folks a thought or two. Meg, how are you, Meg Donahue? Good to see you. Always good to see you. Jersey girls in the house. Yum to miso soup. Yes, it is the bomb. Okay, let's give one last ditch effort to look at some miso. Okay, is that? Huh. I'm not doing well with the on-air photo search here, my friend. But yeah, I'll Eddie, I promise you, I will do a miso soup deep dive where I'm gonna go over what I have in my little kit and all that. But yeah, really confused that's not in the chronological timeline. But you know, that's one of the existential problems we all have. We all have tens of thousands of pictures now. I'm thinking about this problem yesterday on old phones, you know, and it's a trade-off. I mean, I'm old enough, and with both of my parents gone, I've got all these photo albums and all this shit, and it's a source of nearly daily worry. Like, what do I do? All this stuff with no kids to pass it on to. But I'm doing some donating. But one of the things is all those pictures we have, right? We all have it. Like of a certain age, you have actual photo albums. But this new world we live in, where we have all these endless hard drives and old devices, old phones or handheld things. Whew, I don't know, million pictures. Mr. Svagard, good to see you. I almost called you today because I was watching the trial in Georgia and wanted to scream. Derek says, did the Good Butchers go out of business? Love their roast and cheeses. I don't know. Is that the place in San Francisco? Or where was it? In Oakland? Don't know. But businesses come, businesses go. That's why, but what I'm talking about goes on forever and goes back to ancient time. you love gazpacho soup. That's awesome. Yes, gazpacho soup is great. A good raw staple. Uh, so, all right. Well, I'm going to jump off here. What do we do? About 90 minutes? Yeah, 4:43. About that. And to be continued. What can I say? Good to be back. I'm home till about early March and back out on a Pat Metheny tour of the East Coast. So check the dates at patmetheny.com. I know we're going all the way from, I don't know, like Portland, Maine, New Hampshire area, right down to Fort Lauderdale and Tampa St. Pete's. We go as far west as New Orleans. And that's as far west. I think other than that, it never goes any further west than Atlanta, straight down the line. Mostly East Coast. So check it out. There's dates in Connecticut, I think New York State. Yeah, New York City at the 92nd Street Y. There's stuff in, I think, Skipping, Jersey this time. Eastern PA, I believe, and Virginia, a couple in Virginia. North Carolina, my home state. Atlanta. I think we have something in South Carolina, Greenville. So anyway, check that out. I will talk about it as we get closer, but that's kind of what's next. And I'm playing a couple solo shows, which I will talk about here. Morristown, New Jersey. Are we playing in Morristown? Cool. All right. Well, hopefully see you there, unless we're even closer. But those of you who might have jumped in late or missed this, it'll stay up here. And if you want to see some fun food pictures, that's what I did the middle 80% of this stream. So you can scroll back a bit. NYC, for Benny, we got to get some more reverb. Let's see here. There we go. Benny Rodriguez. That's for you, bro. And looking forward to see you. Looking forward to see you all on the road. Thanks again. And hey, even if you do it one day a week, hopefully this has encouraged you to just look at food, whatever type, raise the quality, and try some meatless dishes. So with that in mind, it looks like I'm caught up on Facebook. Tina, thanks for sharing your love for food. You're welcome. Always good to share that love, yeah. And the food of the planet, it's just an amazing planet. We go around and everyone has their different takes on stuff. Okay, and Eddie says good day on Facebook, on YouTube. Good night, YouTube. Lori says, give me an avocado and a spoon. Yeah, that's it. You're pretty good with that. All right, folks, going to sign off. Have a good one, and we'll talk soon. Oh, and thanks for all the love about Jam. Didn't mention Jam, but I'll close with Jam for a minute. Most of you saw the post about her, but our beautiful dog of 16 years, and she had a difficult closing year with Cushing's disease and diabetes. So myself and Robin giving her, taking care of the medical part and giving a dog a shot when they don't want one is always interesting. And most of the time it was okay once she got used to it, but you always feel really bad. And so that was the past 6 months or something, and some real struggles with just thinking about, wow, how much do you keep an animal alive for humans, for our own selfishness? And I don't think we got to that point, which, is easy to get to, where you're doing surgeries and MRIs and, doing all this stuff. But we didn't get that far. She was still, pissing and pooping and drinking water and eating. She had an appetite, but she was getting weak every day. You could see it. Really was starting to accelerate, you know. But it's quite sobering, you know, because I had that dog in my life for well over a decade, you know, 12, 15 years, you know, just knowing her and then having her live with me for, you know, live with us for over a decade. But thanks. I just want to say thanks for the thoughts and condolences, and as I said in what I wrote, just a reminder: none of us get out of here alive. Holy shit! Sometimes we forget that. But it's been a sobering week of just thinking about the lessons from a dog, which are very many, and you know, it brings up other losses and other stuff in our lives. So thanks for that, and we love animals, and that's why we're here. So thank you for your thoughts. And we'll see you hopefully next week. Yeah, home for a couple more weeks. So let's do this again.